you are at your job working hard and thinking all the time, I want to be doing something else, we're going to show you how. Sarah Vermunt is here, our career coach. It's all about the side hustle. Now, the side hustle is important for a lot of reasons, but let's talk about first what it is.
A side hustle is when you keep your full-time job and you start building a business of some kind on the side. So maybe you're a designer or an artist, or you start to do some consulting, or you're a coach, or you have an Etsy shop, or you sell cosmetics.
Yes.
But it's something on the side, hence the name side hustle.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, you're doing it that way for a reason, for a few reasons. Why would you choose to do a side hustle?
Yeah, there's many reasons why people choose to do a side hustle. The first one is, sometimes we put a lot of pressure on our jobs to fill us up in every way, but sometimes there's a part of yourself that you want to express that isn't a natural part of your daytime job. So you end up building something else on the side. So it's a way to express yourself. A lot of people say they do it so that to be more creative, to have an outlet. But also, it's actually really risky to start your own business, right? So people like to do a side hustle because it feels safer to have the security of your job and the income of your job while you're doing your build for your business.
It makes a lot of sense because it is risky, and actually this is what you did.
Yeah, so this is what I did, and this is what a lot of people do. So I was still working as a professor full-time while I started my coaching practice, and I'm so glad that I did, because starting a business is never as glamorous as we think it's going to be.
It's not glamorous at all.
Oh my God, it's so not glamorous.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what they're doing when they first start. You could be brilliant, you could have an amazing business plan, but until you're really in it and like doing the work and figuring out who you want to work with and what you want your schedule to look like every day, you don't actually know what it's going to be like. So doing it slowly and in a less risky way is a really good thing. At least it was for me, and it is for so many people.
I agree, because if you're leaving your job behind and now you can't pay the mortgage or the rent and you're trying to make your dreams come true in this business, that's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. And so a side hustle is actually how most businesses start. Most businesses start just with the seed of an idea, and you have to kind of feel it out at first before things really get ticking along.
Right, and then you do that idea, that side hustle, until you're actually making enough money, or you've realized you have to spend more time on the side hustle now to get it to grow, and you're at that point where you feel confident enough to do it.
Yeah,
and leave your job behind, right?
Yeah, and something that's important to keep in mind as you're thinking about that is some people get really frustrated when they have a side hustle that things aren't moving fast enough, but you have to keep in mind this is something that you're doing part-time, so it's probably not going to grow as fast as, well, it's definitely not going to grow as fast as if you were doing it 40 or 50 hours a week. So pacing yourself is really important. This is not a natural strength of mine. I get really frustrated really easily, and I want what I want when I want it. And so do a lot of people. So keeping in mind that you only have a certain amount of time to work on this business, and you know, very often your main priority while you're doing this still has to be your full-time job.
That's right.
So being reasonable about how much time you can spend on it, and you know, being like not too hard on yourself about not being at the finish line yet is super important.
Right. Now, the other thing, I guess, from an ethical standpoint is you can't be mentally absent from your full-time job because you're starting the side hustle.
No.
That is still your bread and butter. That's still your main thing. So you have to be in two places.
Yeah, and one thing that's great about a side hustle, you'd think that it would actually burn people out, but what I have found, both in my own experience and the experience of my clients, is very often it'll help you set healthy boundaries with your day job. If you know you have a really exciting project to go home to at work, chances are you're not going to work unreasonably long hours and burn yourself out in your day job. You're going to work a right amount of hours, and then you're going to have time for your project. So it actually makes us more efficient in some ways.
So that is a good tip for how to do both. Okay, so you want to pace yourself. You want to make sure you're setting some boundaries. At what point do you decide, okay, I need to make the side hustle my full-time hustle?
Yeah, super important question, because for most people the point of a side hustle is to make it full-time. It's like a slow transition out of what you're doing right now full-time. And there are a few factors that are going to be a bit different for everybody. So a really major one is, how much money are you making? Can you actually start to pay your bills on this business? Or do you have enough of a financial cushion saved up to give you that lead time? Also, how are you feeling about the business? Have you worked out the kinks? A big part of why you start a side hustle is to work out all the kinks. Like, are you working with clients you like? Have you found a way to structure your day that feels good? And also, it depends on your level of like how risk averse you are. Some people are like totally fine flying by the seat of their pants. I'm not.
Me neither.
I'm super risk averse. So depending on how risk averse you are, you might want to jump sooner or you might want to jump later. This isn't really something that's sustainable for a long period of time. Most people do it maybe for 6 months, maybe for a year, or even longer until their business starts doing well.
I remember reading Arlene Dickinson's book, Persuasion, and realizing, because my husband at the time was an entrepreneur, and realizing just how isolating it is as someone starting your own business, and just how little, and no one knows anything when you're starting your own business. It's almost the biggest secret. Like, it's actually all trial and error. You have mentors, hopefully, but maybe not, and you're really just figuring it out on your own. So I feel like a side hustle is a good sort of safer way to start that next chapter.
Yeah, it's kind of like you have a safety net, and you're so right. Like, nobody knows what the heck they're doing when they start out. And that's how it's supposed to be. It's like learning anything new. Where like when you're a newborn in your business, you're not going to be killing it, right?
That's right. That's right.
It takes some time.
Yeah, really good. Great advice.